This is the ultimate camera test of Samsung Galaxy A55 versus Nothing Phone 2A, the battle of the best mid-range phones of 2024. Who will win? Let the battle begin. Another great mid-range battle between the new Galaxy A55 and the new Nothing Phone 2A. Both phones just hit the market this year and probably two of the most popular mid-range handsets you will ever find in this market, and also on the tech reviews. Today we have a balance shoot between indoors and outdoors. The weather here in Canada is getting warmer and warmer, and so we'll be able to see a little bit more outdoor shots moving forward. We are taking images of indoors like malls and flowers. We're also taking pictures of parks, landscape, and we're utilizing all sensors from the ultra-wide, wide, and macro. Let's start with color profile and saturation, and both phones are doing exceptional job on this. I feel like Google Pixel 7a will have a run for its money, and even the upcoming Pixel 8a, because these two phones performs really well for their value. Samsung Galaxy A55 has a more natural looking tone than Nothing Phone. You will see that the white balance is cooler on almost all of the situation. Sometimes it will throw that greenish tint outdoors on a snowy environment, but overall it takes good HDR looking shot, perfectly balanced, so the image looks really good. Samsung is tweaking the shots a little bit by smoothing the surface. Obviously might have something to do with the portrait shots, and so other images like fabrics or rough surface will smoothen up on Galaxy mid-range. It also has a stronger contrast than Nothing Phone. You will see that it crushes the shadows a little bit, especially when if it's a background. It amplifies the shadows when it's part of the subject, like centered metering in camera terms. While Nothing Phone 2A brightens up the image, basically the name of the game here is to make the image better exposed than everyone else. If you watch some reviewers doing camera comparison video on a blind test, you will notice that the winners are consistently the images that are brighter, and so Nothing is providing the type of output to the masses. Also, what I love about the new Nothing mid-range is the details. I feel like they're putting a little bit of over-sharpening on portrait mode, and also on those images without a human subject, like teddy bears or flowers, you would see more details when you crop in. Also, indoors in all sensors, I noticed that the white balance on Nothing Phone is so much warmer than Galaxy A55. This could also be a good thing because tendencies, people wanted a warmer image that is more inviting and livelier compared to a cooler image. Looking quickly on the specification without really diving into the numbers, Galaxy A55 has ultra-wide, wide, and macro that replaces the typical optical zoom of the more expensive Samsung handset, while Nothing Phone 2A's dual camera system of ultra-wide and main sensor. The main difference is the ultra-wide of Nothing Phone 2A has 50 megapixel versus 12 megapixel of Galaxy A55, but the selfie camera of the Galaxy handset shoots 4K recording as opposed to the full HD of Nothing Phone 2A. Going back to the comparison test, I believe you would be happy owning any of these two phones in terms of camera performance. They will perform really well based on your preference. And looking at all sensors from the ultra-wide, wide, and digital crop, all sensors are consistent in terms of colors and details. The only difference is the crop. You will have better and finer details on Galaxy A55. What I love about the new Samsung Galaxy A55 is the macro sensor. It has an extra sensor at the back if you need macro shots, and also it can shoot 4K 30 FPS on the selfie camera. There's more features on the new Samsung Galaxy A55. This is the dual recording functionality where you can see front and back if you're doing vlogging. Let's talk about portrait mode, and both phones are doing really good on portrait shots. I mean, if you're looking on a smaller phone or smaller devices, you probably won't know the difference, maybe the skin tone, but both will look just fine. But if you zoom in on these pictures on a bigger screen like a laptop or tablet, you probably will know the difference a little bit. Galaxy A55 has a neutral and natural skin tone. You will see that there's a lot of details on my face and skin, and this is closer in real life. And this is me personally, I also like the creamier background blur. I think it's a matter of preference, but the bokeh on A55 might look artificial, but those creamier background blur is normally reserved on a more expensive and faster lens. I also like the subject separation or edge detection of Samsung Galaxy A55. It's not as perfect as S24 and S24 Ultra. It will still be hit or miss on the mid-range, but Samsung will perform better than, let's say, Pixel 7a. While the new Nothing Phone 2A has stronger contrast on the face, and I would say a little bit over-sharpened but smoother than Galaxy A55, the skin tone is also popping out a little bit more, and it is warmer than A55. I mean, I would say I like 60% of the image coming from this phone. There's also a gradual blur on Nothing Phone. It's not as creamy as what you can find on A55. Gradual progression of the blur is more natural looking than the competition. Also, what surprised me is you have two focal lengths on Nothing Phone 2A. You have 1x and 2x, which is equivalent to 24 and 55mm shots. So you have to get a zoomed in ID photo like on Nothing Phone 2A. If we go on the selfie camera, I feel like Galaxy A55 takes the win here. Selfie is more detailed and natural looking. It feels like coming from a rear camera in terms of the quality, while you have a more colorful selfie on Nothing Phone 2a. Now going for the night shot, it's a night and day difference. I should say nothing beats the more popular handset like Samsung in terms of night shot capability. By default, Samsung takes longer seconds to take a shot compared to Nothing Phone. A55 ranges from 2 to 3 seconds on my test, depending on how dark the situation is, while Nothing Phone only counts 2 seconds. So that's a good second difference in terms of exposure and gathering of light. You would notice that Galaxy A55 is sharper, better exposed, and less noisy compared to Nothing Phone 2a. And checking both sensors, both the ultra-wide and main, they're almost the same, just a difference in colors if you look at the sky, and same tendencies on the main sensor and digital crop. What I like about the new Nothing Phone 2a is you can shoot 50 megapixel on both the ultra wide and the main sensor, so it can read out 50 megapixel as opposed to the one sensor on Galaxy A55. It also has the glyphs, so if you want to show off your new phone, this is the fancy way to go. Let's talk about flaring and checking the ultra wide and the main sensor. Almost the same look, both of them handled it really well, so this is a tie for me. Checking the highlights, if I zoom in on the light, you will see that there's more information on Galaxy A55 than Nothing Phone 2a. In terms of exposure, like I said earlier, Nothing Phone 2a exposes the scene better, and as you can see on this picture, the plants are well lit on the new Nothing mid-range. But the biggest difference on these two phones is the dedicated macro sensor of Galaxy A55. It can take close-up shots. Talking about white balance, you will see that Galaxy A55 has a cooler tone, while Nothing Phone 2a is warmer. Checking sharpness on the ultra-wide sensor, I should say there's a little bit more details on Nothing Phone 2a, but Galaxy A55 has sharper text, also the same tendency on the main sensor, and going for the digital crop, they both have the same level of sharpness, probably a little bit better on Galaxy A55. And lastly, details, both of them can shoot 50 megapixel photo. There's just a difference in white balance and exposure, but Nothing Phone 2a can also do 50 megapixel readout on the ultra-wide sensor. So this is the image test of Samsung Galaxy A55 and Nothing Phone 2a, both solid mid-range phones in terms of camera performance. I do like the image quality in the portrait mode on these two phones, but the only difference is the macro mode on Galaxy A55 and better night shot. Now we will do the video test from the stabilization, time-lapse, and low-light video. Starting with the video zoom test, you will see that Galaxy A55 has more details but noisier than Nothing Phone 2a. This is the video stabilization test using the ultra-wide camera in 4K 30 FPS, and both phones are doing really well. Almost the same look, just a difference on the color of the sky, a little bit lighter on Nothing Phone. This is the main sensor, still in 4K 30 FPS, and again, same look, just a difference on the sky, but you would see once I settle down on the hard movements, there's a little bit of shakiness on the new Galaxy A55. This is the selfie video recording, and the difference are the white balance is warmer on Nothing Phone 2a, and also Galaxy A55 can shoot 4K 30 FPS as opposed to the full HD of the Nothing mid-range. We are diving on the slow motion test, and they have the same speed, but Galaxy A55 has more details. Also, Galaxy A55 has super slow motion. Nothing Phone can only shoot 1080p at 120 FPS. This is the time-lapse video, and both are sitting on a monopod, and I noticed that Nothing Phone is a little bit shaky. And lastly, going for the low-light video, Galaxy A55 is better exposed, but it stutters while panning. I believe this is caused by a slower shutter speed. Overall, both phones are really good, and if you want a cheaper alternative and you don't need the macro capability, better exposed night shot, and 4K selfie video recording, then Nothing Phone 2a is a fancy phone with glyphs that has awesome camera performance. But if you need a better camera phone overall that would get you longer updates, and you will be using this more for vlogging, and you need that 4K video for both selfie and the rear camera, then Galaxy A55 is the way to go. And there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll continue to compare these two phones in our channel, so stay tuned. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.